Okay. We're back again. Welcome to the Custom Beat Show. You know what I'm saying? When we talk about and have healthy conversations about life, about beats, about music production, and of course, we're going to go over some techniques transparently. You know what I mean? Sorry about that. I know you guys couldn't hear me before. But we're back in now, and I think we got the audio going again. You know what I'm saying? Y'all let me know if there's in the chat if there's any audio issues. But we're just gonna proceed on once again. I'm sitting here with a new software that's, I wouldn't say new. It's relatively new. But yeah, we are going over a software that I really like. I've been going over different softwares pretty much every week. The first week we did Acid Pro. Second week we showed you how MPC can be used as a DAW to record and mix, and also there's other softwares that I like out there. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of different softwares that over the years I played around with, and we're going to go over those. And today is going to be another day where we actually go over some more stuff. Let's see what we got here. Let's see here. Let's refresh this thing. And let's see what we got. And we are live. You guys give me a shout and let me know if you're hearing this. And then we'll get in with today's lesson, if you will. We good to go? All right. Got the fist up from my man, Mellow Man PDC. Thank you so much, bro. Yeah, once again, we're just been covering different softwares and covering, techniques, things that you may not be aware of that I like to do with the softwares and things of that nature. And today we're going over another one. And today's software, once again, if you guys were watching before and you watching now, this is PreSonus Studio One. PreSonus Studio One is a DAW that I'm very familiar with. And when I do these home studio consultations that I do, most of the time, this is the software that I actually am putting people on to learn how to use digital audio workstations. If you don't know what that means all the studio softwares that you see people using out there in the world. This is one of those softwares as well. So you have the familiar ones: FL Studio, Pro Tools, Logic, GarageBand. There's so many different ones out there now. You basically got a big choice of what it is that you want to use. You know what I mean? But just a little brief history on Studio One. It is a digital audio workstation. Of course, you can record, mix, and master music, make beats, do all that other good stuff that all the other DAWs pretty much do. And it also has a functionality that's available for video, and most people probably don't know that part of it. It initially was developed as a successor to the Crystal Audio Engine, spelled Kristal, and then it was acquired by PreSonus and first released in 2009. So the platform's been around for about 14 years. Okay. So you can get it for Mac and you can get it for Windows, and Just another side note, it was acquired by the company Fender. For those who know about Fender, um, Fender is one of the world's, largest companies when it comes to guitars. Most of the people that you know that are famous guitars, peace and blessings to everybody. I see y'all in the chat. Bose, Nick, Podge, you already know. Big shout out to y'all. But yeah, Fender is one of the companies that create that makes basses and make guitars and make all kind of different types of things in that realm. For most of your rock legends, their guitars were Fenders. So the company Fender acquired this software platform back in 2021. Aside from the commercial editions, PreSonus also distributes a free edition with reduced functionality. That's like their basic Studio One platform, but you can get it for free if you're on a budget. You can get it for free. You can also pay for it monthly. They have a monthly subscription program, and it's called Studio One Plus. You know what I'm saying? And you can actually get this and pay for this by the month. And a lot of these companies are starting to offer those packages now where you can actually acquire these softwares and utilize them in their full functionality on a monthly subscription. And Studio One is obviously one of them. So once again, here is Studio One. As you can see, this is when you start the program. This is the first screen that you're going to see here. You're going to see the main outline here. You get an option up here on the top right to upgrade, where you see my little ugly picture. Yeah, you get an option to upgrade it, so you can upgrade it at any given point in time. Once you acquire the money, if you really like this software, I would suggest you go ahead and upgrade it, because when you get the full version of these softwares, they definitely give you more than what you're bargaining for. Now, over here on the right, you have the news feed, which I think is a clever thing for them. If you're online, and we always encourage you to get the real softwares, because you're not going to see this stuff unless you got the real software. We definitely want to encourage you to never use bootleg or crack software. Always go and invest in yourself when it comes to doing this music thing. So over here on the right, there's a news feed, and if you scroll down the news feed, you can see that they give away tips. Like you see here, did you know these two different playback modes? So they kind of like give you educational tips and tools right here in the little news feed on the right. And any other information that you need to know about Studio One is in the news feed. Now we're going to go over to the middle of the screen here. Of course, you can see that I have an artist profile here. Of course, I haven't done that part of it yet, but you can, because they do have a network where you can actually communicate with people through the software, and you can collaborate and things of that nature. You can also connect your SoundCloud account, and you can interact in the software with your SoundCloud account. Now, down below here, we have a setup. Basically, I have it set up to my interface, which is a Universal Audio Volt 176. I love the Universal Audio interfaces. So, shameless plug. I do not endorse these companies, as you guys know, but I will definitely give you, kind of like what I use. I can do that for you. So Universal Audio Volt is my interface. I got it at 48 kilohertz and 512 samples, which kind of like really balances it out. There's no drag, no latency. I would say, your bare minimum on these type of softwares, you probably should be running at the bare minimum 8 gigabytes of RAM, Core i5 preferably or better. If you're Windows, or if you're a Mac, you can, any powerful, generally powerful computer can run this software comfortably. Now, below that, you have an option to configure both your audio device and your external devices. And it will pop up a window where you can actually see, you may not be able to see it at home, but I can see my options to assign my MIDI controller, and you can use the MIDI controller in Studio One. Now, on the left here, At the very top, you can start a new project here. And next to that, you can open a project that you already were working on. And then you can also join. Like I said, you can join and you can actually communicate with people through the software, you know, and do a cloud session, what we call cloud collaboration. That's a really nice feature. And this is Studio One 6, just so you know. This is the latest version of the platform. They are on Studio One 6 now. So I highly recommend that you use the new version of these softwares because they just do so many updates and they improve these softwares tremendously. And they really do kind of like, put you in position for success. Now, down below here on the right, on the news feed, you have the Facebook for Studio One, you have the Twitter account, you have the YouTube account, you have the Instagram account, and you also have the TikTok account. So you can stay interactive and connecting with the community through those platforms. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to kind of show you what Studio One's environment looks like just from the basic thing. So if we're going to start on a new project, it's going to pop up a window that you may not be able to see at home once again. And what the window gives you options on is to either use a template, which is, the templates are record and mix. That's a new Studio One song. It just starts with a blank, template. It also has record now. So, you can record audio on single or multiple tracks and capture your ideas. You also can produce beats, so you can start building a beat from scratch with patterns using virtual instruments for drums, bass, and chords. You also have Play Now, which is play a single instrument and capture ideas for your next song. You can create content with this, so they also had the content creators in mind with this. Record and produce online content with such as audiobooks, voiceovers, and podcasts with or without video, which makes it really nice. And then you also can import files. You can import files from various formats by dragging them on the drop zone, which they have a little box in this window that you can't see, and I apologize for that, but you just can't see it. You can drop your files right there in the screen to open up a session with the template for import files. And then we also have, lastly, we have audio interfaces. Record audio straight from all available inputs of your favorite PreSonus and Fender devices. So they have native devices from these companies that you can actually, go straight into and record. And we'll get into those in another, video sometime down the road. All right. So what I'm going to do, though, is I'm just going to pick the basic one here. Oh, I should also mention this, too. You can also create user templates in here. You can build the environment of Studio One how you like, which I'm going to give you an example of that today. And you can build your own template, and then you can utilize that template anytime you want. And you can save it as a template, and it'll be in your user section of, the new project window. So we're just going to start here and open up an empty session here. And as you can see, this is the environment. It looks very similar to most softwares that you see out there in the world. You know what I mean? And this pretty much gets you at a start point where you can start to build your session, whatever kind of session you're trying to do. So over on the right here, you have a series of tabs on the top right here. You have instruments, so you can select instruments that are either installed on your computer or the native instruments that came with PreSonus. So I have a series of instruments that I have from different companies and things of that nature, but we'll take a look at some of PreSonus's instruments right off the bat in case you want to create beats with Studio One. So you have one instrument you have here that I'm going to drag and drop over here is the impact instrument. And I know you guys can't see it, but if you look on the right, you can kind of see it looks like a drum machine similar to MPC or something like that. They got Mai Tai, which is a what I considered a synth engine, where you can actually find basses, bells, chords, drums, and things of that nature. Um, and it's a pretty cool little thing to get you started. And then they got Mojito, which is another synth based plugin where you can find other synth sounds, like your clavinets, your saws, synth sounds and things of that nature. That's Mojito. You got Presence. Presence to me is kind of like um, a plugin where you can actually add your own samples and play the samples, or you can create your own, like instrument with this particular VST instrument. And then they also have Sample One. Sample One is where you can actually chop samples, you can edit samples, you can do all kind of manipulation with the samples that you want. So Studio One, just by the plugins that it has in it by itself, can kind of like cover you from all kinds of angles. And that's a very nice thing that you can do with that. Now, also, you can use, of course, you can use loops. It comes with a bunch of loops of its own that you can actually tap into here, and it will show up here in the loops section. You got effects. So if, say, you're recording vocals, or you want to apply effects on Studio One's timeline, or on any one of the channels or in the mixer, you know what I mean? Which we'll get into the mixer in a second. You'll find those plugins here, and you can actually drag and drop, or you can insert them a different way. Okay. And then you also have a section where you have files. Now, any files that I want to be able to use, like say I want to use a kit that I have, one of my own personal kits, I can go into my external hard drive and I can go look into my kits here, and I can find kits. I can find sounds in kits, and I can drag and drop them onto the timeline in Studio One. Real simple. Like I can give you an example right now. Like say we want to find like a little lo-fi loop or something like that we want to work with. We're going to, for example, I'm going to set the BPM. I see one that's like 84 BPM, and you down below on the bottom right where it says tempo, that's where you would adjust your BPM, or beats per measure. That's what BPM means. So I found one that's at like 84 BPM. So I set my tempo at 84, and then I can just drag and drop that into the timeline right like that. So now you can see that I have this here. Now what I can do, if I want to just preview this and have it looping, I can take the pencil tool and I can actually create what I see. What you see at the top here is what you call a loop region. Down below here where the transport controls are, in the middle where my mouse is, right here, it's loop active. So once I click that, you can see that the loop region turned blue. So now it's just going to loop infinitely on this section of the timeline. So if we can play this. Okay, I know that's coming through my headphones. Let's see if we can get that to play back properly here. Yeah, it's definitely saying that. Let's see if we can switch our audio device here. I got it set on mine. See if we can play it through this particular. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so you can, as you can see, we have a nice little loop going here of a guitar bed. And Studio One, like I said, will infinitely loop this for you. It'll definitely loop this for you. Okay. So we have that there. And then we can just start building our beat like that. You know what I mean? We can add more drums. We can use one of the plugins. We can do whatever it is that we need to do in order to keep that beat going. So you have also options that you can use. Like I said, your third-party instruments. Like me, I like to use MPC. So I would definitely open up the MPC platform, and I'll start to build tracks with the MPC platform right inside of Studio One or any one of the DAWs that you use that you can use them as instruments. You can use those in Studio One as well. Real easy. It's all drag and drop, which makes it really cool. So like say if I want to use like, anything like say I want to use this plugin, which is the Triton Extreme, which is a VST instrument. We're going to try to call this up here and see if this actually loads in here. There it goes. Okay, so you guys can't see it at home, but it added this track for me to be able to either create via MIDI input, meaning that I have a MIDI controller, and you can see that I'm actually playing notes from my MIDI keyboard. You can't see me playing it, but you can actually see that there's activity. It automatically arms you up. Let's see here. Yep, so we're gonna see if we can we're gonna see if we can actually lay some of that in there real quick, just so you can see how it lays down MIDI notes. I'm gonna take the loop function off. I kind of like to do that, and then I go ahead and I start to laying stuff down. Now down here below, once again, you have an option for a pre-count. What that is, it'll give you a 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you can start to play, and it'll give you a metronome. So okay, so just for an example, ready, play. Okay, so I have that in there, and as you can see, it created a MIDI file for me playing that particular phrase. Now I'm just going to tighten that up. I'm going to turn my loop back on. Let's see how it came out. Okay, nice. So as you can see, the instrument actually played in there, and we have other options at the top here. Like I can put input quantize on, and if I toggle that on at the top here where you see me activate it, you can actually play those notes, and they'll automatically snap to the grid based off of how you play them in, and it'll put it on time. That's basically what quantization is. Quantization will put your notes automatically on time. Input quantization, that is. And that's all quantization is. It just snaps to the grid and puts your notes in an accurate, format. You know what I mean? So that way you can do what you do with that. But as you can see, you can add loops. You can add instruments. You can add pretty much, any sound that you want, and it will definitely show you really quickly how you can get something together musically. Now, in addition to that, you can also add audio tracks, and how you go about doing that is at the very top of the screen there, where it says File, Edit, Song, Track, Event, Audio, Transport, View, Studio One, and Help. You go to the track section and you can add tracks. So I just like to hit the first thing and add tracks. It'll pop up a window to tell me what the name of the tracks are. So I'm going to say vocals. And we're going to add about, I'd say 7 audio tracks. Okay. It's going to auto color them. And of course, like if I'm adding audio tracks, I'm ready to record vocals. So I will, the format's already set for that. It's mono. There's no effects chains, but you can put an effects chain on the vocal preset. And I will do that now. I'll put a male vocal preset in there, and my output is main because I'm not going to run into an output bus right now. But eventually I would do that. I would run my vocals through an output bus. But we're just going to, add some audio tracks now. And therefore, there they go. So it says vocals 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, vocal 5, vocal 6, vocal 7. And it automatically will label them so you can actually, know which track is what. So if I arm this for recording, we're gonna turn that the direct monitor off. That is the blue button that you see me tick on and off, so there's no feedback. I got my direct monitor on my interface, and what we can do is we can record audio. So we're going 4, 3, 2, 1 it. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yes, indeed. And as you can see, that put it right in there, and then we'll play it back. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yes, indeed. Okay, so that didn't really pick up the way that we thought it should. Let's go ahead and move this to another track and play it back. Check, check, check. 1, 2. All right. So what we got to do is we got to switch our input here so you can kind of hear what that audio is entailing. Let's go here. We're going to switch that input. That's all I didn't do. I apologize. We're going to record that again so you can actually hear the audio coming through. Once again, we're going to arm the track up here, and then we're going to lay down some vocals again. All right, this is a mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, check, check. Okay, so we got that right there. Let's go ahead and play it back and see what we got. All right, this is a mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh, absolutely. 1, 2. There we go. Check, check, check. Oh, you can't, and you really can't hear that much. But what I would do is I would adjust my levels. Obviously, you can adjust the levels based off of the waveform right here. There's a little dot at the top here. If I grab that and drag up, I can bring my audio gain up individually on the track. Play it back. All right, this is a mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, check, check. Okay, so you can hear that. All right, this is a mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And of course, check. I'm just using my broadcast mic, and it's working out pretty good. You know what I mean? Appreciate it, Shawnee. Appreciate everybody that's checking in this morning. Thank you guys for tuning in once again, and bearing with us with the little technical issues, but we gonna keep getting it right. But most importantly, you guys get the gist of what's going on here. You know what I mean? And then, like, say, of course, if I wanted to use another track, I'm just going to disable that so I don't have a delay. And I'll just pick up and I'll punch in right from 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, check, check. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. All right, cool. So you can see that I did that there. And I'll just raise it up a little bit, too, on this. Take the dot in the middle. Bring it up some. Play back. All right, this is a mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, check, check. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, and as you can see, I was able to lay down all those parts comfortably, and you kind of are getting the idea of how this DAW stuff works if you've been watching me do, little tutorials on the other softwares. As you can see, one common theme is you can create music in them, and you can also do vocal recording. You can mix. Now, one thing I'm going to call up down below on the bottom is the mixer, so you can take a look at that. And down below here, this is your mixer. So what you see on the right there is all my channels on my mixer, and it's just like a mixer in any other software. You know what I'm saying? They got ability as like the other softwares. You can raise things up, you can take things down, you can take windows away. So for example, down on the bottom right where it says browser, bottom complete right, I can tap that, and as you can see, that screen has gone away. Now all I see is the mix window on the bottom. There's also an edit window down on the bottom. So if I highlight one of the vocal takes, for example, and hit edit, that vocal take is going to pop up at the bottom. But right now, I don't want to look at that. I want to look at the mix window because this is where I can do my leveling. I can get my stuff together here. And as you can see, the presets of the inputs or the inserts are the vocal preset that I put on each one of these tracks. It automatically natively puts a compressor and an EQ at a vocal setting, so you don't have to do no guessing as far as, what do I want to put on there. And in the inserts where it says in the mixer here, I'm gonna bring the mixer up some more so you guys can see that. Um, Up above, you can see where it says compressor and it says EQ on each channel that I have for vocals. That is a preset that they already have in the software, where you can actually set your vocals up at a basic level professionally. You know what I mean? So you have a compressor, you have EQ already in there, and they're on settings that are generally good for vocals. And for those who aren't really handy at understanding what needs to go on what channel, this is an easy way for you to get started, because you can go into the little drop down menu next to where it says inserts, and then another window pops up, and you can get specific, from bass to drums to guitar instruments. You can go to, mastering, mixing, your synths, your vocals. They have presets for all of those particular functions. Now, over on the left of there, you can see your instruments, where it says I'm using Triton Extreme. That is the instrument that I did put in the software to play the piano. And also on the far left there, you can also see what all your channels are. You know what I mean? So you can see these, and you can take these away. So for example, if I didn't want to see the instruments, or I didn't want to see the channels, I can hit that button and take away the channels, the channel list, and I can also take away the instrument rack. So I took away the instrument rack right there. And if I just want to see the channels themselves, that's how I would look at it. And as you can see, it's color coordinating everything, so you can kind of like get your colors in order however you see fit. Now, if you just touch the color over here on the left, where the window is with the tracks, like for example, I can touch that color and I can change the color, as you can see, to whatever color I want it to be. So there it is. So now I want that to be that color. And as you can see, it changed the color of it to be exactly what I wanted it to be. And that's, they associate music and color for a reason, because some people, even engineers, I'll hear them say, oh, well, I want to put some more color into the mix. Well, color is associated with music. Like most of our softwares have color coded things, and you can make these exactly whatever mood you feel like, the music is. And so that's just a little something that you could do there. But I can also call up on the other side. I can make it small, or I can make it large. Small will take my plugin list away at the top, and then it will make it down on the bottom where it says expand next to the fader. So if I click the button that's called expand, it will open up the plugin list to the immediate right of that channel. And then I can go back in and I can do the same thing. Okay, so I took that away, and then I can also make it narrow, or I can make it normal. So if I hit narrow, it'll be on the mixer. As you can see, the mixer window made them narrow. Say I have more tracks that I want to be able to use in Studio One, I can narrow this window down just so I can see the faders. But if I want to see it more expanded, I can just expand it out. If I want to have the plugins back at the top, I can just make it large instead of small. That's large. Okay, you also have your inputs. You can show your inputs. So if I move this, toggle this switch, I can see now the inputs that I have on Studio One, and I can monitor them in that fashion. It's to your liking. You can set these windows up however you like to see the software. Okay, and that's pretty cool. And so we also have, next to that, we have, I can take that away, and I can show the outputs. So it calls up a tab over here, and I can drag over, and then I can see outputs. But I don't want to see that right now. I can also show my external devices, which is the MPK Mini. You can see that, where that window just popped up on the left, and that's what I'm using to control my piano. You know what I mean? Once again, I can go over here and I can touch the piano once again, and I'm playing. Okay, but I can see that if I want to see it, and I can show my instrument rack once again. I can see that I'm using the Triton Extreme, and I can see that information on the left. Me personally, I don't do that, but you can. That's the most important thing is you can pretty much set this up how you like. And real briefly, adding effects is not difficult at all. The As you can see down below, the mixer is very very straightforward. If I raise this up, I can raise up also the sends so I can see the sends, and sends are like ghost tracks that you can send these vocals through that channel, through that kind of like extra channel, and do some more tweaking and editing to your sounds. So as you can see, like I said, I can make that window large. I can make it the size where I can also still see the timeline, which is up here, and I can make this look exactly how I need to make it to look. And yeah, that's really an important thing to know, because and if obviously the bigger your window is, the more you're going to be able to see these different windows. I can take that mix window away, and then all I want to see and all I'm working on right now is just what I'm doing in the actual timeline, the track window. I can just stick with that, and we can just work that way. But as you can see, you can add, once again, I added just a loop. I added a virtual instrument, and I added audio inputs. Now, on one of these audio inputs, I can also, even though I labeled them vocals, I can even add any other audio input source. So if I had a guitar, I had a bass guitar, or anything like a keyboard, anything that has a input that I can input into my interface, I can actually record those instruments into Studio One as well. I can record those all the way in here. Now, we'll talk about the top of the window once again. Over on the left is showing me my volumes of my instruments. I also can edit automation, meaning that if I want certain things to happen at certain points in the track window here, I can add some automation, and I can make an effect creep in, creep out, things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? They also have a control tab. So the controller is there. To the right of that is the arrow tool and the range tool, which are natively, highlighted when you first get into the track window environment or get into the main environment of Studio One. And then you also have a split tool where actually I can select the split tool, and I can go to, like, say, the third bar here on the top. Like, say I wanted to just split this one, I'll hit the select tool, and as soon as I touch the select tool, it'll split it where I need it to be split. And then I can take that and I can move it. I can kind of like drag it back and forth. As long as I highlight it, I can put it and start it wherever I want it to go, and then I can connect it back. Now, say I don't want to do that, I can just hit Control Z on Windows or Command Z on Mac, and I can undo those moves that I did. So if I want to undo the split, I can undo the split and join it back together. And there we go. And that's that. So as you can see, there's a lot of different functionality that you can put into Studio One, and it is fully comprehensible. It will get you going immediately. I mean, as you can see, just in the short amount of time that we've been sitting here, I was able to show you that how I could put a loop in there, create a tempo, play some instruments, lay down some vocals, and much more. You know what I'm saying? This is just like an introductory to the software, and this is kind of like how I get people started, so they kind of understand it. And what I'll do is I'll set this environment up so people can utilize the software for what they want to use it for, and whether it be just multi-tracking. Once again, like I said, it has a preset in there for podcasting. You can podcast if you do audio podcasts or whatever type of podcast. You can use Studio One to record your audio. If you are pre-taping, you can record your audio that way, and then you can do all your editing, your audio editing, add your music that you want to add. You can do all that other good stuff, and then you can create a file from that to upload to the platform that you use to do your streaming or do your broadcasting, if it's a pre-taped thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, Studio One is a pretty cool software. I like it a lot. It can do a whole lot. But once again, we can go ahead and finish out the top here, the eraser tool. And to the right of that is the paint tool. And you see these in a lot of DAWs. They have a eraser, they have a splitter, they have a paint tool, they have a selection tool. They have actually a mute button here. They also have a bend button. And then they also have a listen tool. So to the right of that, you have audio bend, you have strip silence, you have a quantize button. To the right of that, you have your macros. And we also have your IQ, which is input quantize. We got quantization, time base, snap, and of course the toggle snap button, which is what I'm touching right now. It's going on and off if you see it at the top right. If you turn this off, you can actually slide your file however you want. If you have it on, though, it's going to snap to each one of these lines, as you can see. So that's what the toggle snap means. To the right of that, you have toggle ripple edit, which is something that I never use. You have auto scroll. So if you're hitting the play button and you start to go down the timeline, it will automatically start to scroll down, such as this. Okay. Next to that, you have the cursor following the edit position. You toggle your auto zoom. You got your information here. And then, of course, you have your account, your PreSonus account, which you should have an account. And then, of course, you got your start page. So if I touch the start page, it's going to take me right back there. Okay. If I hit the next button to the right of that, that's going to be the documents, which is really my session window. Okay. So I just want to make sure that I covered those thoroughly to make sure you know what that is. Down below, you have at the bottom, you have Open MIDI Editor. You have your performance at the bottom left. You know what I'm saying? To the right of that, you have your cache activity. It shows you what your sample rate is. Your record time, it'll let you know how much record time you actually still have on your computer down on the bottom left. The record max is 13 days. 13 days and 4 hours. I got, you know, how many minutes and seconds the song is, and then I got the bars and the beats next to that, and then you got your transport window, which is your previous marker window. You got rewind, you got fast forward, you got play, you got play from return to zero, or go to the next marker is next to return to zero. So you got, once again, you got your go to previous marker, you got rewind, you got fast forward, you got to go to next marker, you got return to zero, and then you got the stop button, which is already highlighted in blue. And to the right of that, you have start or play, and then you have record. Next to that is the loop active. So once I turn that on, like you saw earlier, that will enable my loop function to just continuously loop what's going on. So right now it's on loop. We'll just start it from the top. Yes, yes, yeah. All right, this is a mic check. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Check, check, check. And again, you'll hear yes, it loop. Yes, 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 yes. All right, this is a mic check. 1 2 1 2 1. Cool, cool. So you can see that's going on. Now to the right of that, you have your loop length. It'll tell you how long your loop is. And then you have a series of other little buttons and icons. You got your record mode replace. You got your record panel. You have a couple of different little things here. Auto punch, pre-roll. You know, if you like to use pre-roll, you got your pre-count. you got the metronome setup, and then you got the metronome, which the metronome, obviously, for those who don't know what that is, that's what keeps you on time if you're playing something raw. All right, this is the click. Check 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2, and I can adjust those settings on that. Yes. I can adjust the settings on it as well. So I turn that on, turn that off from time to time. Shows you my timing. I can switch my timing to whatever time signature I want the software to behave at. And then, of course, my tempo. We even got a slider for master volume here, and a meter above that to check our levels. Okay. And that's pretty much the window in Studio One. It's pretty straightforward. It's a software that I really enjoy a lot, and I think that it's something that's really, really handy for people that want to learn digital audio workstation. It's a beautiful platform. I do support them. I'm not endorsed by them, but I'm going to be showing different softwares, throughout the time that I'm on with you guys. So you can see different options, and then you can make decisions based off yourself. If you need a consultation, you can always, hit me up on my website, custombeatking.com, and we can set up a time where I can either Zoom chat you, or I can pull up on you if you're in my area. You know what I mean? So it's something that we can always do. And yeah, that's Studio One. I hope you guys really liked that platform. If you like that software, you can go to presonus.com, or you can go on YouTube. There's a bunch of tutorials. There's a bunch of information that you can get to understand Studio One itself. I personally own it. I think it's dope. I teach a lot of people Studio One. And I think that, for how we work in today's environment, this is one of the softwares that I consider one of the perfect softwares that can really teach you a lot about how to do studio, how to actually have studio right there at the comforts of your home. And as a matter of fact, one of these weeks I'm going to go over, certain little things, like if you're just starting out and you really want to put a studio together at home, one of these weeks we're going to show you certain things that you can do and things that you can get to kind of like have, a basic studio like I have here at my apartment. I have a basic studio set up. I have my interface here. You probably can see it a little bit, but I have the MPC here. This is the MPC One Plus. I also have, monitors, some desktop monitors, but these are professional. These are Mackie monitors, you know what I mean? So we're going to go over stuff like that, and we're going to show you what you can use to get yourself going on your own. Yeah, but leave some comments in the chat. If you see this later, tell a friend that we're here every Sunday at 11 a.m. on the East Coast. You know what I'm saying? Once again, big shout out to everybody that's tuning in. Tell a friend to subscribe to my Twitch, subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can catch me on LinkedIn. You can catch me on a couple of different platforms, but most importantly, stay in touch, stay in the loop, and we're going to get out of here. Thank you for tuning in, and I'm going to holler at you guys next Sunday. I more than likely will have a guest coming soon, so you guys stay tuned for that, all right? Have a blessed week, and I'll see you guys next Sunday.